face, your boy Scarface, and I want to welcome you guys back to another episode. I really do appreciate you guys every week tuning in. Thank you guys. Wherever you're listening to this, please give us a thumbs up, a 5-star rating, whatever you guys can. It helps the podcast go a long way. If you're here from the TikToks, what's up? The IGs, what's up? Welcome. Consider following, subscribing to the podcast, because we do have a lot of great topics. And the topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about today is the 10 traits of narcissistic person. Have you ever wondered if somebody you're talking to is narcissistic, or have what to look for, right? Because people automatically use the word narcissistic, but they don't really say, but they have these traits. And they don't have to have all of these traits. It just, if they have a lot of these traits, like red flag. But before we get into that, shout out to everyone that I said what's up to at the Lowrider show. Excuse me. Thank you guys for saying what's up. I love speaking with you guys. I love putting faces to names and stuff. That way, if you guys ever see me, I'm a regular dude. There's somebody I saw in the DM saying that, hey, I saw you, but I didn't know if you wanted to be bothered. Just come and talk to me. I'm the regular person. I'm nobody special. Okay? So just come say what's up. All right. But first, we're going to play this game. How deep will you go? Level 1 is icebreakers. What do you find attractive in a person? And if you've been following for a while, a lot of people know that I find smiles very attractive. And that's usually what makes me want to pursue somebody or talk to somebody. Does it necessarily mean they're going to be a great person? No, because I've been bamboozled. There's people that I've talked to that ended up being horrible people, rude people, mean people. But you don't know that through a smile. That's why I'm saying the smile is what gets my attention. And then from there, hold on tight and find out what happens. But that's what attracts me initially in the beginning is somebody's smile. That's why I'm when some people say, can you be attracted to somebody or can you be with somebody that you're not attracted to? I always say no, because I have to be attracted to the person that I'm talking to. That was the only reason I'm pursuing them. So, you guys let me know. All right. So level 2 is confession. What is your toxic trait? My toxic trait is, that one is hard because I'm not toxic at all. What are you talking about? I think my biggest, I'm just trying to think of what I've been told in the past. I think my biggest toxic trait is, and we're actually going to talk about it in there, is the lack of empathy. Because when somebody brings me a problem, I'm trying to work on it. I'm not like, oh, hey, I'm sorry you're going through that. Let's fix this. Or what can we do? It's going to get better. I'm more like, okay, that's the problem. How do we fix it? Boom, 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 boom. Let's fix it. And I'm expecting them to just be like, all right, cool. Let's keep it moving. Because that's how usually I fix some problems, right? I'm just like, all right, this is bugging me. How do we fix this? So I think that would be my biggest toxic trait. Off the top of my head. So, and that's what these are, off the top. What's a thought you can never seem to escape? What's a thought that I can never seem to escape? I think this happens later in life because obviously you change throughout your life. One thought is that I know my parents won't be here one day. And it sucks. You know what I mean? When you think about it, it just sucks that just anything isn't forever. We're going to be gone. People we've known before are gone. People that are coming in the future, just born today, are going to be gone at one point. Everyone is gone. But that's why I don't know how to empathize with people who've lost parents, because I still have both of mine. So I don't know that feeling. I don't know that feeling of emptiness. When you love somebody and they're not gonna come back. So I think that's something that I can't get out of my head. Because like I said, early on, you don't really think about this stuff. But now, being older, 36 years old, 37 this year, is something that I think about. Because if I'm 37, that means my parents are a lot older, right? And just the thought of one day that they're not going to be here. I think about that a lot. And that's why like a lot of this, like, or when I did the podcast where I don't know why I started crying. It just hit, I just got hit with the bag of emotions. And I started crying because I was like, I said that I saw my dad and he looked a lot older, and he did, because what came to mind was when he was like younger, playing baseball, doing all sorts of stuff. And then I was like looking at him, you could tell in his face, he looked older. He was having a hard time getting up because his knee was bugging him. And I'm just like, damn, he's getting old. Right. And then I think that's where it hit me too. Like, it's getting closer to that side than to what it was, you know what I mean? So I think that's something I tend to think about a lot. So that's why I always try to call your parents, try to talk to them as long as they're around, you know, because there's some people who aren't as lucky and don't have their parents. So if you do, this is your sign to send them a message, give them a call, see what they're doing. But we're going to get into this podcast, and it's the 10 traits of a narcissistic person, you know, and again, they don't have to have all of them. It's just some of them, you know, you just pay attention to the person. All right. So the first one that I have is grandiosity. They have an inflated sense of self-importance and believe they are superior to others. And I hate those people. I've never felt that I was better than anybody. I don't feel like I'm superior to anybody. But trust me, you get around some people who think that they're the shit, you know, and maybe they are. Maybe they have reasons to be the shit, but where they constantly flaunt it, like, hey, I'm the shit. Hey, I'm the shit. Hey, I'm the shit. You know, you really need to pay attention to that, because they're even going to think that they're better than you. You know, like say you bring something up and they instantly can one up it, right? Oh, I just achieved this, all that. Yeah, but I did this and this and this, you know, instead of being like, oh shit, that's dope. That's dope. You know, I'm always congratulating people when they have achievements, do something cool. I always support people. So definitely pay attention to if they're coming off as I'm better, I'm superior, I'm up here, you're here. And it happens a lot too with exes. I'll tell you that right now. That's why sometimes some exes will keeps tabs on you. That way they can see, say you uploaded another guy and they want to know who it is. They creep, and then they're, oh yeah, I'm totally better than that dude. You know, but what makes you, clearly you're not better, because if you guys separated and she got with him, isn't technically he better? Because don't you normally upgrade? So, I mean, that's just me thinking, but that's something to give you guys to think about. Okay. So the next one that I have is lack of empathy. Like I said earlier, they struggle to understand or care about others' feelings, making relationships feel one-sided. Now, this is something that has been brought up to me before in relationships, and I'm trying to work on it. And I'm not saying I don't care, as in your problems aren't, like, if you tell me something, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. You know, I'll let you deal with it. No, it's more of a, if you have a problem, this is what we got to do to fix it. That's how I am. Growing up, like having multiple businesses, when you have a problem at work, you can go and talk to somebody, or you can go and push it to somebody else, because you're like, not my problem. This is your type of problem, you know? But when you're like that in charge, CEO, the owner, there's nobody you can go to. You have to figure out the problem. I mean, of course, you may have a team or something like that can help you figure out the problem, but at the end of the day, you have to fix the problem. And so I've always been conditioned to be that type of person where, oh, this is the problem. Cool. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. For me, if I'm going through something like, say, a breakup or whatever, and I'm like, okay, what is making me think of this person? Them seeing them on social media, block. That's why I started blocking people a long time ago. Oh, like I saw this and this person gave it to me. Throw it the fuck away. Throw it away, sell it, whatever you got to do. Like I'm not saying you have to throw everything away, but just fixing the problem. That's my thing, you know? And so I need to learn to empathize with, because not everybody's going to be the same as me. So I need to learn how to empathize that. So I'm thinking this is more of somebody who just brushes off your problems, but then their problems are huge problems and you need to worry about them. They need to be top priority. but not yours. Yours are like, okay, like we can deal with that later. But mine, we need to stop the world. We need to fix it now. Okay. So the next one that I have is need for excessive admiration. They constantly seek validation, compliments, and recognition to feed their egos. And this one is hard to see because there's some people who say, oh, somebody who posts a lot is trying to feed for validation, compliment. No. Well, maybe. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm sure there's people like that. But I post a lot. But that's because I'm trying to grow with social media, and trying to grow with social media, you have to be consistent. You have to shock value, entertainment value, actual value, educational value, like all this stuff. Like you have to post, and along the way, people are going to compliment you, saying you're doing great. But I'm not doing it to seek validation. I'm doing it because I know you got to be consistent with this stuff in order to grow, right? So I can see where people will say like somebody posts. That's where I think the whole selfie thing comes. When somebody's constantly posting like selfies, or if they're hit you with the, oh, like feeling ugly today, fishing for compliments. I have no friends, fishing for compliments, and things like that. Maybe stuff like that. Or see, this is like where it gets like kind of tricky, because I would just say pay attention to it, but it doesn't necessarily make them narcissistic, because learn the person. For example, like I was telling how I post all the time. And is that narcissistic, or are you trying to grow a profile? If you want to call it narcissistic, then I guess I'm narcissistic because I post all the time, 5 to 6 times a day. That's minimum. And then I post a shit ton of stories, minimum. So that's why you have to learn if it's something that they're doing more for just like compliments, fishing for those compliments, validation. I think that's something a little bit more to worry about there. All right, the next one that I have is manipulative behavior. They use guilt, gaslighting, or deception to control others' personal gain. Absolutely. Because the gaslighting one, crazy narcissistic, where they make you feel like you're the problem. Your behaviors have caused them to act like this. Your behaviors has caused them to be rude to you, be mean to you, treat you bad, hit you, abuse you. Your behaviors have caused that. And they make you feel like that. And I've talked to people that have been in those situations, and it's crazy because they actually think in the moment when they're in those moments, they actually start questioning it and thinking they are the problem. They're like, damn, maybe I should start behaving a little bit better, and he'll go back to how he used to be. So definitely pay attention. If they're flipping it on you, like flipping everything on you, if they're telling you the reason they're behaving this way is because of you, think about it. Think about it. No, absolutely. And especially when you haven't done anything, you're just like, well, I didn't fucking do anything. And they're getting mad. How can you become better after that? So you really need to, like, if they guilting you into thinking that you need to do something for them, or that it was your fault, they got pulled over. It was their fault. It was your fault that they hit you, and things like, if you weren't behaving this way, it would have never gotten to that point. So you need to pay attention to this stuff, because gaslighting and the guilt one is the hugest. I think that's the biggest trait to look out for, is the whole gaslighting and just like the guilt tripping, because they will make it seem like it's your fault that they're behaving a certain way. And I also have the sense of entitlement. They expect special treatment and believe rules don't apply to them. And that is absolutely true. There are some people out here who expect special treatment because they think that there's somebody special, like for some reason, or they expect special treatment from you just because you're their girlfriend. You're supposed to go out of your way for him. You're supposed to do this for him. Or just because he thinks he's some status level, right? No. People where you feel like they have some sort of self-entitlement, you might want to question if they're a narcissistic type of person, right? And the one that the rules don't apply to them, there's some people, I respect people's rules. If I go into your home, your establishment, and these are your rules, I'm gonna follow them because this is your house, your establishment. For example, like there's some things that I find should be different on like TikTok and IG, the way they mute some of my stuff, the way I can't do some certain things. But at the end of the day, you guys always hear me. I'm like, this is their app. They make the rules, and we have to dance their dance. It's theirs. If it was yours, you fucking change it. You do it. There's only so much you can complain. But if you actually want it, like, this was yours, I'm sure you wouldn't be able to please everybody. So you would have to find some happy mediums, right? And same with like people's businesses. I treat people's businesses like they were my own. Like I don't want to break anything. I don't want to, I want to treat it the best I can. Homes, their other people's stuff. The people that just feel like they're entitled to do whatever, they can break any rule because it doesn't apply to them. Definitely a red flag. If they can do certain things in the relationship, but you can't get mad about it. They can go and talk to other people, but they were just talking. You're just getting mad about it. So definitely pay attention to those. The entitlement one, because entitlement is crazy. Exploitative nature. They take advantage of people without remorse, using others for their own benefit. Oh, yeah. When they exploit other people, they exploit you, they exploit family. Definitely pay attention. Anything. I get it. We're all trying to get ahead here. We're all trying to do something. We're all trying to be successful. But when you go and do some shady stuff to your person, to your family, to your friends, just to get personal gain, that's a huge red flag. That's something you definitely have to keep your eyes on, because it's only a matter of time before they do it to you. Because if they can do it to family, if they can do it to their own wife, their girlfriend, they'll do it to anybody. If they're going to get ahead, they'll do it to anybody. They'll make you, they'll blame you for shit, saying that you're the one cheating or you're the one doing this. So that's why they're talking to other people, or they don't want you to talk to other people because they feel like they're bad people, automatically judging them. There's just so much stuff like exploiting wise, if that makes sense. Like if you feel like they're trying to bury other people for their personal gain, and even making up shit, or say something personal about them and you're just like telling everybody that way you can get ahead, is definitely a huge red flag. And it's only a matter of time before they do it to you. So don't think you're ever safe from any of this stuff, because if they can do it to one person, they'll do it to anybody. And especially doing it to friends and family is crazy. What makes you think that you have some sort of pass on that, right? So the next one that I have is arrogance and superiority. They often belittle or demean others to feel more powerful. Oh, I've dealt with people like that. No longer deal with them. But there's those people who will belittle you. They'll make you seem like you ain't shit. And there's a difference between belittling somebody or being, like, say a coach. Like, if you want to be like yell at them, tell them this, tell them that, it helps them. It motivates them to get better, right? Like, stop being so fucking late. Like, I remember one time, like, that's what motivated me to run faster in football. Because I remember, my dad would always give me shit that I was in the last one, always the last one. But for some reason, that one really didn't motivate me. It was like when you're running and doing the laps, especially at the end, like one more lap, and then they would clap for the last person or last couple people. And I remember this one coach, he said, he was like, one of these days you won't, like, maybe you'll be up in the front. I don't know why that lit a fire. I was like, maybe one of these. I was like, no, I'm going to be in the fucking front. And by the end of the season, I was in the top 5. Always. I made it a thing that I was never going to be in the fucking back again. So, but that's what I mean. Like, maybe talking to people in a certain way helps them, motivates them. But if you're in a relationship and they constantly belittle you, your job, whatever you did, your accomplishments, that's a huge red flag. Like, if they're doing it in a relationship type of setting, or if they do it to other people too. Like, I joke around with friends all the time too, but there's a line with people, right? I never want to make someone feel small. I'll be honest. Like, if you ask me to be honest about something, I'll be honest. But I'm never like, oh, that was shit. Oh no, horrible. Oh, that was the best. No, I never try to belittle anybody. Always try to help people, but you should also pay attention to that. Like, if he's a coach, I'm not saying he's necessarily belittling people, but being tough on people, okay, that's a little different. But this is more in your relationship. Is he belittling you? Is he belittling your family? Is he belittling your friends, his friends? Pay attention to that, because guess what he thinks of you? Small. So definitely pay attention to that. All right, so let me see. The next one that I have is difficult accepting criticism. They react with anger, defensiveness, and blame shifting when confronted. And this one's a huge one as well, because when you bring something up, they automatically they get upset. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, say, hey, like, maybe I remember telling a girl that she treated the waitresses like shit, and she went off on me saying, like, well, she wasn't doing this. She wasn't doing this. What was she doing? Blame shifting. Be like, no, like, there was no reason for her to get upset. And so you have to pay attention to stuff like that. They blame shift everything. You're like, hey, like, maybe you shouldn't do that. And now they're upset because you criticize what they did, or they're doing something wrong. They want to act like they're fucking perfect or anything. Because the people who are pretty narcissistic take criticism really hard. Or you can just take, hey, like, I didn't like how this was. Can we change this? Can we do this? And you're just like, oh, okay. And same, like, in relationships, technically I've never really been criticized, because I've never been put to the point where I needed to be criticized by somebody. I think the only thing was the whole being cold with people. Yeah, that's been brought up, but it didn't make me upset. I was just like, oh shit. Made me think, but I could have been like, well, it's because you did this or you did that. Like, this isn't, then that's a little different, right? That's a little bit more difficulty accepting criticism. So definitely pay attention to if you criticize something about them, or the relationship, the way they handled something, the way they did something, they shift the blame. Definitely red flag. If they get defensive, that's why, like, usually when people did something wrong, they get super fucking defensive. So definitely pay attention to that. The next one that I have is lack of accountability. They refuse to take responsibility for their actions and always find somebody else to blame. Lack of accountability is huge, because they can't accept that they fucked up. People who cheat, there are some people who accept it, be like, I fucked up, my bad. How can we fix this? Or let's fix this. But there's always something. Oh, it was because of this. Oh, it was because of that. Oh, it was because of, XYZ that I did this. And it's never their fault when they gaslight you, abuse you in any way, physically, mentally, emotionally. It's not their fault. They won't take accountability. Even when they even clearly know they're wrong, it's not their fault. And so you have to really pay attention to their, because, like, if I fuck up, I'll be like, oh, fuck, damn, my bad. Won't happen again, or, I'm going to work on that. Being told I was cold in a relationship, I was like, oh, okay, like, I'm going to try. This is why I'm like that, I think, because I'm like that with myself, but I'm definitely going to try to empathize a little bit more, because like I said before, I understand that not everybody is like that too. And me expecting somebody else to be like me, I think is wrong. So definitely pay attention if they they do something wrong, somebody else's fault. They did this, somebody else's fault. They're the reason. They're the reason. That was why. He was why. She was why. It's because they were acting this way. No, just be like, I fucked up. So pay attention to those. So the last one that I have is superficial charm. They can be highly charismatic and charming at first, but reveal their true nature over time. And this is where the whole love bombing comes from. Yes, I know a lot of people were like, oh, they're so great in the beginning. They said, I love you. They'll paint an amazing picture in the beginning. The first few months, great. Holy shit, how is this guy so fucking perfect? But then all of a sudden they flip. And now we'll say it's like a guy and a girl. Now the girl is waiting and trying to do whatever she can to get this back. Him in the beginning. So she's like, if I behave better, if I do what he wants, do what he needs, he's gonna go back to this person that I first met. And and then they'll tell you the reason I'm like this is because you're acting like that. And so you start becoming a shell of yourself. So you have to be careful when these guys especially in the beginning. That's why I said, take your time with somebody. How are they 6, 7, 8 months in? Are they still the same? Has their energies dropped off? They're not interested in you? Or are they extremely rude out of nowhere? You're just like, oh, okay, this is just a phase. If I do this, he's going to go back to how pay attention to that stuff. And I'll tell you this too, there's nothing you can do or say that's going to fix somebody who's narcissistic. Nothing you can do or say. You can be the most perfect, well-behaved person, covered up because he doesn't like you showing anything, no longer have social. You can become a shell of yourself, and it's always going to be something. Always something. You're out, some guy looks at you. Just because you were walking by, like it happens, somebody walks by you, kind of look at them, oh no, but it's a problem to them. You were flaunting something. You were trying to get his attention. So that's why I say there's nothing you can do or say that's going to fix somebody who's narcissistic. So if you're in a relationship thinking that things are going to change, they are not. The only way they can start changing and fixing these traits that they have, this shit that goes on in their head, is counseling and some therapy. If they're not trying to get that shit figured out, they're going to continue to be the same how they are. And that's why I said there's nothing you can do or say to this person that's going to make them change. And people think that's why I brought up the whole, people think that they can just start behaving out of nowhere and they're going to change, or they can just start listening to what they want, their needs and whatever, start being what they need. Maybe they were misbehaving. Maybe they need to behave better. That way he doesn't lash out like this. No, he's got some internal problems, internal issues, internal demons that he needs to get fixed. And the only way he's going to fix those is by seeking some help and figuring out what is the stem of all these problems. Not you. You're not going to fix them for him. Stop thinking that you're going to fix these problems. They're going to go back to how it was in the beginning, that romantic, perfect person. No. They need to fix it's because they're hurting a lot too. Something is making them feel like that. And so now they need to bring you down there with them. They need you on that level, if not lower. They need you to feel that same type of pain, that anger, all that stuff. They need you to feel it too. And so they're going to do and say to bring you down there. And they're going to make it seem like it's your fault too. So if you're dealing with somebody like this, please, 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 either help them get help. Or if it's something that you can get out of that relationship. And don't stop falling for that. If it's your fault that they're acting like this. It's your fault that this. Trust me, I've dealt with somebody who was narcissistic. And Jesus, now thinking back at, why? Why was I dealing with that shit? Why was I believing some of these things? Why was I feeling like some of these things were my problem? when they clearly weren't. It was just something was going on with her, not me. So that's why I want you guys to take this podcast and listen to it carefully and make a decision, because they're not, again, I'll emphasize it again. There's nothing you can do or say that will change a narcissistic person. The only thing that's going to change them is help. So you either help them get help or help yourself out, because it's going to be a shit show. But anyways, hopefully you guys are having amazing relationships. But if you're listening to this, you're probably going through something and you need to make a tough decision. Okay. So I want to thank you guys for listening. Every week, new episodes. We got some cool things brewing, because I always want to bring guests, have conversations with other people too, just because we can bounce off different things. I did the podcast with No Sabo podcast, and people messaged me saying it was cool getting like a different dynamic and perspective from certain things, right? So that's why I like including guests, but I'm not, hey, I have to have a guest to have a podcast. No, that's not me over here. I can sit down and chat with you guys. And hopefully maybe in the future, I want to do some YouTube live podcasts where you guys can interact and chat with me, and I can do a live podcast. We can just chat, talk, see where things have a topic and things like that. So definitely, I got a lot of things I want to do for you guys, just because I want you guys to have an overall great experience every time you come here. It's all about experience for me, because if it's a great experience, you'll continue to come back. If you're just here, if I'm here battling on fucking TikTok, you ain't gonna come back. It's going to be fun for a little bit, and then you're going to be like, what the fuck am I watching this dude battle other people and giving them all this money? Fuck no. Anyways, I want to thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next week. See you guys.